Well, are you going to chase the touchdowns? You're probably going to chase the touchdowns with A.J. Brown. How can you not? A.J. Brown coming off a 3-touchdown game. And he has a great advantage. The Houston Texans cornerbacks and defensive backs are not very good. So why are we fading A.J. Brown? That's a tough one. You don't like to hear it because he just came off the number 1 wide receiver score of the week. And could he boom? Could he prove me wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's within his range of outcomes. But I think it's most likely that he finishes as like a top 12, top 15 wide receiver. That's the most likely outcome for this week. Why? Why? Because he has the advantage. Because he has the skill set. Because of what he's done in the past. Why am I fading A.J. Brown? It seems counterintuitive. Here's the reason. It's all about game script. The Philadelphia Eagles have one of the lowest pass rates in the NFL, number 1. But one of the lowest pass rates in the NFL in the second half of games. And if A.J. Brown, he'll need to make the most of his damage in the first half of the game because the Houston Texans tend to give up a lot of fantasy points to the running back position. And if Miles Sanders gets established early and the Eagles start scoring points, same thing with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to start scoring points. Doesn't matter if it's rushing or passing. It's very possible that in the second half of the game, A.J. Brown gets a couple targets downfield, fine. But for him to repeat as a top 6 or 7 option, which is what he's being ranked at right now on Fantasy Pros, he's going to need an absolutely massive ceiling game. And the Houston Texans defensive backs are only giving up 22 to 23 fantasy points per game total to the wide receiver position because they're getting game scripted out. These wide receivers are getting game scripted out. Derrick Henry, 32 rush attempts last game. Josh Jacobs, 25 rush attempts, over 150 rushing yards, had a 30-point game. The Houston defensive backs don't need to play defense in the second half of games because teams aren't passing the ball against them. It's just not what happens. So if I'm the Eagles and I already have a low pass rate on the season, I'm just going to run the ball with Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott. And, will A.J. Brown get his 8 targets or 9 targets? Sure, fine. A.J. Brown usually gets that amount. But it's also that, let's say it's not even an A.J. Brown game. Let's say it's a Devonta Smith game. I don't know if there's enough passing volume that's going to come around for it to be both of their games. So within the range of outcomes, then it's a Devonta Smith game. It's a bad game script for A.J. Brown. And honestly, the pass rate is not very high for Philadelphia. The 62% pass rate that they had against Pittsburgh was an anomaly. I'm not believing that they're going that pass heavy moving forward. So I am moving A.J. Brown down from the wide receiver 6 or 7. That's what the consensus rankings is, down to about 12. Wide receiver 12 to 13. That's probably where I'm going to land. And I know that that's low compared to all of the other rankers, but you need to keep in mind that the reason why A.J. Brown was so high was 3 touchdowns. That's a difference of 12 fantasy points if you take 2 of them away. Actually, more like 14 fantasy points because each of them are touchdown reception. So that's the reality with A.J. Brown. Don't be chasing the touchdowns. Temper your expectations. He'll still probably be a wide receiver 2 solid for you for this game. But for him to repeat as even a top 5 option, top 7 option, I think that is an unlikely outcome for A.J. Brown in Week 9 Thursday Night Football.